This episode of Falmouth in Focus is brought to you by the following corporate underwriter.
John's Liquors, 729 Main Street, Falmouth, 508-548-2287.
This time on Falmouth in Focus, a stone's throw from gold and glory, or should we say, a stone's slide? Our local curling club is sending a hometown champion to the Paralympic Games in Italy. His success is a mirror of the club's dedication to giving everyone a shot and fostering a spirit of sportsmanship on and off the ice. We cheer on the athletes of wheelchair curling on Falmouth in Focus, and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus. I'm Eileen Preston. In just a little more than a month, on March 6th, the Paralympic Winter Games will open in those two Italian cities, Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo. And among the U.S. athletes competing will be a local boy, a wheelchair curler who went to high school at Falmouth Academy and later became a Harvard-trained lawyer. His name is Sean O'Neill, and he found his passion for curling only about 4 years ago, right here in town, halfway up the hill to Highfield. That's where the Cape Cod Curling Club has existed since 1969. What's so special about our club here in town is not just that they made the club's infrastructure accessible to people using wheelchairs more than 20 years ago. They also created the outreach and fostered the culture that helped grow the number of wheelchair curlers taking up the sport. That consistent effort has helped the club send 4 athletes to the Paralympics over the years, including this year's competitor. With the excitement building, FCTV figured it was a good time to meet Sean and have a closer look at the club that got him ready for the global arena.
What's going through my head is constantly thinking about curling all the time, what we need to do to prepare, how we can be thinking about strategy, what it's going to be like to be at the games. All things curling and Paralympics are going through my head at all waking and some sleeping hours.
I met Sean 3 years ago. He tried out for the national team. He caught my eye right away. It's like you could see he had some talent. For his only being around the sport at a high level for 4 years, his curling knowledge is like second to none almost.
The whole club is immensely proud of Sean, and Sean is actually the 4th person from our club to be a Paralympian. So we have a wonderful program here on Cape Cod.
19 years ago, on Route 130, I was in a car crash and tore my aorta. When you tear your aorta, you usually die. So it's a miracle to be here as it is. But if the blood flow is halted for long enough to repair your aorta, often you can end up paralyzed, called ischemic paralysis. So I don't actually have damage to my spinal cord. There's just a lack of blood flow during the miraculous life-saving procedure. But I've been in a wheelchair since then, since January 2007. I came into curling here at the Cape Cod Curling Club at a wheelchair curling open house in association with the last Olympics and Paralympics back in 2022. So yeah, it's been about exactly a game cycle from first picking up curling, from first throwing a stone to being here today.
Wheelchair curling, the game with the ice and the wheelchairs and the sticks and the stones. 2 teams of 4 people take turns throwing 20-kilogram stones down a sheet of ice. The target, a 12-foot house that looks like a bullseye, just over 28 meters away. Each team throws 8 stones, and the team closest to the center after all the stones are thrown will score the points. Like a general on the battlefield, the skip calls the shots that will best ensure victory. Stones are delivered with a predetermined rotation, so they actually curl as they travel down the ice. Of course, this is why the sport is called curling. Aside from a few dozen other minor details, that's all there is to it.
In 2005, we were doing an expansion on the curling club. Before then, there was just no way for a wheelchair curler to get on our ice. Tony Colaccio, who was the president of our curling club at the time and really a visionary, he worked tirelessly to make sure that a ramp and accessibility was part of that plan. He created that program, and he went out and he found those first wheelchair curlers.
My husband had a cousin younger than him, Michael, who was in a wheelchair. And when we got involved in this sport, he felt there were many times that they should have or they could have spent more time with Michael, having him enjoy the games and be with them. And he felt bad that they didn't spend that much time with him and help him develop and do more things on his own. My husband and I ran fundraising through golf tournaments to fund the money to build the wheelchair ramp that we now have. Now our wheelchair disabled curlers can slide right on the ice and go right off the ice.
Tony Colaccio took myself and David under his wing, and he said, if you put in the time, I'll put in the time with you. And we were like, okay, let's do this. And it was a lot of time on the ice, at least 3 times a week. We got our butts handed to us every game in the beginning, and that's not the case anymore.
It's absolutely phenomenal. I don't think that anybody, perhaps aside from Tony, could have envisioned where we are now. Not only do we have these Paralympians, but we have a really robust wheelchair program and just wheelchair curlers entirely integrated into our club. Like, it is absolutely unremarkable that any league night that you're going to see wheelchair curlers out there, and that in and of itself, of course, is remarkable.
All right, you give it a ride whenever you're ready. As hard as you can. Oh yeah. All right.
We've partnered now with Adaptive Sports Organization and Spalding Adaptive Sports, but we are not beyond when we see someone in a wheelchair in the grocery store saying, "Hey, do you have any interest in a sport?" We call that.
It's calling it pulling a Tony.
Pulling a Tony.
If Tony saw someone in a wheelchair in public, he would absolutely go up to you, ask you where you live, do you play any sports, that kind of stuff.
Whatever brought them to the chair, they have still found a love in curling and a membership and a family as a club that they don't get anywhere else in any other kind of sport. It's very unique.
It's a very warm community, the wheelchair curling community, and our club, and what Tony and Mary Colaccio built is just a shining example of the heart that goes behind it.
It's getting dusty in here.
It gets a little dusty when I talk about Tony. It does.
A great shot. Nice work.
The open house that we're having today for people with disabilities to come and try curling, it's another way to get more people, have more people come and try the sport.
Megan Lino, I can remember her so clearly being that person at that open house and saying, okay, this is how you do, this is what you do, and I've been to the Paralympics twice. This is something that is possible, it's conceivable. It's not guaranteed by any means, but there's a path.
Sean and I have texted a lot about everything, and when I found out that he was selected, I had texted him and said, congratulations. Take in everything and experience it all. Like, really focus on each little aspect of it. And he wrote back to me saying, it's because of you that I'm where I'm at. And I said, realistically, you're the one that put the time in. I said, I just was there to help guide you.
It's a full circle moment and experience to be able to be in that role now of welcoming them to the club. And I often probably use and overuse the word surreal, but that full circle experience is quite surreal.
I grew up in a club similar to this in a small town in Minnesota where people just do the right thing all the time. It's truly special that people want to do good for people. You come to the curling club and you're in a safe environment, fun environment, and it's just, Cape Cod's lucky to have this place.
There is no possible story about me without the Cape Cod Curling Club, without Tony Calaccio, without Megan Lino, without the other wheelchair curlers. There's nothing particular about me that does not exist because of this club, the people at this club, the programs at this club, the support of this club.
So we're all rooting for Sean, and you better believe the curling club is setting up some watch parties for those games. And if you, yes, I'm talking to you, are curious to give curling a try, you'll find the club a welcoming environment of learning opportunities that can accommodate even the absolute beginner. There's a youth program for athletes from 6 years old all the way up to 21. And senior citizens with reduced mobility can opt to use the same kind of sticks the wheelchair curlers use. And most of the matches end with the tradition of broom stacking, when the winners buy the losers a beverage and share some friendly conversation. Maybe a little smack talk. And that's going to wrap up our show for the moment. I'm Eileen Preston. Go Team USA and go Sean. Until next time, we'll see you around town.